What's happening, bro? You good?
I'm good, bro. You good?
No, I'm good. I'm excited.
I'm
Um,
also excited.
because we're sitting here and we're doing this properly this time. That's a bit of an inside joke because this is like our third take. We were here
Yeah.
yesterday trying to record. Things didn't work out. Came this morning trying to record.
Things
Something
didn't
went
work
wrong.
out.
But yeah, now we're ready to go.
Yeah.
And we're here to just talk about your journey, your musical journey or your creative journey.
Yeah.
Because I like to think, I mean, it's not just about, making music.
Yeah.
People create in different ways.
No Steph.
But I think the principle behind it is the same. Um, so I think to start us off in the conversation, I just want you to take us back to, a young Mr. Lou,
Mm-hmm.
probably like 3 years old, 2 years old, however early it was,
Yeah.
when you first, encountered music, or being a DJ or whatever the case may be. Where did your journey begin as Mr. Lou?
Alright. Well, it didn't just begin as Mr. Lou at first.
Yeah.
Yeah. It began
Yeah.
as
Okay.
obviously it began as Lunga.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I was very young then, man. 2 years old when I started fiddling with drums at home. My father was a great musician. He was a legend. So before I was even born, like back home, baby, they still have like a huge garage where a lot of artists they book it and they come and then they rehearse.
Yeah.
So by the time I was born, I grew up in that environment. So age of 2, I was already starting to play messing around with some stuff. You know? So I would break plates, do a lot, bruh, you know.
A problem child.
Yeah, I was. But then as years went by, my dad bought me a keyboard.
Yeah.
Which had like a lot of functions, bruh. You could like record, you could program, just like you would do with your Logic, Fruit Loops, Reason, or whatever.
Yeah.
But obviously, it was just a keyboard, so it didn't have a lot of functions, know. So I started fiddling with that, started playing keys a bit, programming drums, Most keyboards, they come with drum patterns and stuff like that, But I would program like hip hop. So I did like a lot of hip hop, that time. And then I formed a group in my hood. It was me, my elder brother, and a friend of ours who was also now like a business partner of mine.
Okay.
So we formed a group, and we were just doing hip hop. And they'd be like, "Yo, Lou, must help you hip hop cats talk, So I got the name from then. The name Lou comes from Lunga. So I got the name there. They just shortened my name, yeah. So I got the name then. Then I started programming a lot, doing sci-fis, going through all these places, meeting up with hip-hop cats until one time I fell in love with house music, And that time house music was still growing in SA. And we would find it more in the compilations, So
Soul Candy albums.
Soul
and
Candies,
all that stuff,
your Skidos, like everyone was just compiling music from producers overseas and stuff. So I fell in love with house, and then immediately when I fell in love with house, I was introduced to Fruit Loops 3 by a friend of mine.
Yeah.
So when I looked at it, it was like a gaming machine for me. Like I didn't really understand it. I thought this is just to play with.
Just for
you understand? Yeah, it was just for jokes, and it didn't look very nice.
Yeah.
At first, So I played around it a couple of times. And then I was like, oh, actually, you can make music most here on this game.
Yeah.
It was a game in my head at that time. But as time goes by, this friend of mine brought Fruit Loops 4 after some time. I think that's when I began like getting more interested into Fruit Loops. I was like, okay, I see this is the same thing, but now it looks different. It looks nice now. It's more cuter. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I started programming on Fruit Loops. But what I would do then, I would listen to a song that I love and try to recreate that song. You understand?
Yeah.
So that taught me like how to navigate around
The
the
software.
software. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would do that a lot, and then I would go play it for my friends. Also, they boosted like some confidence in me. Like,
Yeah.
yo, bro, you
That's
do
dope.
this, you do this, yeah, you do this. So it was dope, man.
That's always like a part of the journey when it comes to your first encounter with Fruity Loops. You make a beat,
Yeah.
and I remember the first beat that my brother and I made had no bass line because we didn't we
You
didn't
didn't
really
understand,
understand that a
yeah.
bass. So now when we played it for other people, they were kind of like, "There's no bass line.
Yeah, yeah.
There's no vibe."
It's all growth, bro.
Yeah,
I
it's
would grow
growth,
from
yeah.
that. So time went by, and then I met up with T. At that time, I was like very comfortable with Fruit Loops.
Yeah.
And I was also using Reason as well at some point.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So I was very comfortable with production, and then in my hood, like my name was starting to come up. Like, yo, there's this young producer like Mr. Lou this, Mr. Lou that, and at that time I was still confused whether to do hip hop or do house.
Yeah.
Understand? So I met up with T, and T was like dope as F. Like, it was crazy dope. So I was like, I thought I was the only one who was doing this here. Like,
Yeah.
where do you come from?
Yeah.
Only to find out that his father is friends with my father. They're
Yeah.
both musicians.
Yeah.
They both play around in the same garage. And I was like, oh, okay, now I know your dad. Then we became friends. And they used to go to school together with MSK. So we became friends. Later on, I met Heavy K.
Heavy K, yeah.
Yeah, he was
Drum
also
boss.
young at that time. So he would come to my crib also almost every day. We were like, yo, how do I do this? And yo, I do it like this. How do you do it? You
Yeah.
know, we started exchanging information. And at that time, he was doing the Buju Muju sound and stuff. So I was like, dude, we need to change this. So I had to school him a bit on the musical side, and then
Yeah.
exchange projects, give him projects. And it was dope. It worked out pretty dope. And myself and Heavy, we became like the producers. We were like, and he evolves very fast. Heavy's like crazy. So we started programming a lot of music together until one time we ended up being like friends, all of us, including Cubase. So at some point we met up with Mixit, the
Yeah.
social media thing.
app, yeah.
Formed a group there, started a group, and then T was like, Jens, how about we start for a collective? Let's just form a collective and become a crew. I mean, we're the youngest and
Yeah.
the only people that are probably doing this thing here in our hood. So yeah, we talked about it for some time, came up with the name Point 5. Boom, Point 5 comes.
Yeah.
Became Point 5, we pushed a lot of tracks, we did huge joints, we did Ubanus Nigalento, we did so many songs, but
Yeah.
at the time, we produced for a lot of like great artists.
Yeah.
We made the biggest songs in SA. We won awards, bro. So fine, years went by, and then we split around 2012. I think it was around 2012, and we were like, okay, we are officially splitted, if I'm not mistaken, but it was around that time.
In 2012, somewhere.
Yeah. So 2015 got a chance to come to Johannesburg. So it was like, MSK, my G, you're always with me, bro. Like when I wake up, you're the first
there.
person to knock in my door. Ba ba ba. Yeah, I'm here for Lou. And we chill the entire day
Yeah.
together. So, bro, I'm scared. I don't want to go there alone. Let's go, dude. Like, I need someone to be there with me. I've never been to Johannesburg.
Yeah.
I heard it's rough and ish. So we come. We start chilling. First year, we started producing some music. And then every time when I do something, and then MSK adds in something, and then when we drop it, it'll be like Mr. Lou and MSK.
Yeah.
So that thing grew to people that we were a duo.
Crew, yeah.
We were a crew, but we were never a crew. So, but then we also decided to ride on the wave.
Yeah.
Because people loved us and they were like, okay, this one is a drummer, this one is a DJ, you know.
Yeah.
But when they book me alone, nah, he's a crazy DJ. Like, what's happening? So we're like, nah, let's just utilize it. Whatever
Yeah.
they want, like, let's just give them whatever they want. So we started pushing that movement, push that movement to a point where I ended up growing up and he grew up as well. MSK, we were like, okay, I think now it's time, bruh. Like, we part ways, you know. Not to say we like enemies and stuff, but just to grow up and
Yeah.
focus on
You guys are going in different
whatever
directions.
that we want to truly focus on.
Yeah.
Like, if I want to do music business, do music business. If I want to produce, I produce. If you want to go to school and, you know, get a whatever career like in school, like just do it. Like, do you, I do me, but we're still cool, you know.
Yeah.
Fine, we talked about it until it got to a point that now we understand we're both in the same space. We know what we want, and even the other guys are doing the other things. T's an IT specialist right now, so we did a lot of stuff, you know. So we part ways, and then I came to a conclusion that, you know what, I've been boxed my entire life. So now it's my time to actually express myself as me, solo, and do the music that I want to do, not the music that the group wants to do.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
Hence, we are sitting here today and we're talking, you know, and I'm doing the one of the craziest album I think I've ever worked on in my
Yeah.
in my entire musical career. So I'm very excited about it, and you know, that's pretty much it. That's been my journey until
That's
where
dope.
we are right now. Yeah,
That's dope. That's quite a story. I mean, even when we were talking about this first solo
yeah,
album that you're doing, you know, and the fact that it's you for the first time
yeah,
bringing,
yeah,
you know, Mr. Lou to the people.
yeah.
You know, I don't want to say the real Mr. Lou because I think you've been your real self.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I think this is a side that people probably didn't know existed.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
quite a that's quite a thing, man. And when you think about your your influences as you came up, you know, musically, or were you can you say you're a trendsetter, or you
I-
had certain influences? Who were the influences, or what influenced
To be-
your music till now, and what
Yeah.
you're doing currently now with your music?
To be honest, bruh, like I personally like feel like we've influenced a lot of guys and we've changed so much in terms of like house music.
Yeah.
Remember like what I said earlier on. These guys used to compile music. So we came in and brought our own flavor, which became very commercial as well, you know. The Tinizizwe song we did with Busim Song or Mam
Yeah.
Busim Song, and a lot of other tracks. Like I personally didn't understand how our music was moving from Port Elizabeth to Gauteng to Cape Town to Durban, and we were
Yeah.
getting bookings everywhere, like everywhere in the world. Even went up to Angola and other places.
Yeah.
And at that time, internet was not that exposed
Wasn't
to
a thing,
people.
yeah.
It wasn't
Especially
a
in
thing.
Africa, yeah.
You understand? But our music traveled so quick. We would release a song now, and you hear someone in Cape Town saying, "Yo, that song of yours," and we would get gigs like that. And then it came a thing that whatever we were doing was a PE sound. You understand?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
they would used to call it a PE sound until I heard, oh, even the Devon guys are into it.
Yeah.
Okay, we have Shumaya by Devon Knights, like, but that's our sound.
Yeah.
And we have this by who? You understand? We would hear it on other producers as well. That
Yeah.
oh,
This is the influence
now
that we've
now
injected into
exactly. You
Yeah.
understand?
Yeah.
We would tell that we've influenced here and
Yeah.
there and there. So we did change a lot, and at that time there wasn't a lot of us because even when there was a time when we got signed at Kalao,
Yeah.
there was only few people like even that time. It was like us, Infinity Boys, Black Motion, Mapodisa, Monoti. I think those or Pex Africa as well.
Those were
So
the artists
those
signed
were the
at the time.
artists who were actually doing house music for South Africa at that time.
Yeah.
So, and we were also called like the Kalawa Dance Crew. So, but then it really expanded through time.
Yeah.
That you'd find like just a random guy out of the blue, with a big song, which is dope. Like I'm quite happy for them. But yeah, man, I feel like we've really done our justice in terms of influencing
Yeah.
the entire South Africa and even other like countries
Yeah.
with our sound.
Yeah.
As point five.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's huge, man. I mean, I wouldn't have thought it was that big, you know?
It was very big,
That's
bro. It still
huge.
is.
Yeah.
Still is.
That's huge.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I'm just thinking about somebody that would be watching um, this podcast and thinking, man, I've got so much to share, so much to offer, but I don't know what the first thing is I should do or what the last thing I should do is, or, you know, where do I even start? What music what software do I use? Just a kid that's watching this and thinking, how do I go from where I am to where I would like to be, not necessarily where Mr. Lou is
Yeah.
now, but
Where they
where I'd
wanna
like
be.
to be.
Yeah.
What would you say to somebody that's watching?
First of all, to talk about the software part. For me, a software is always like a piece of paper, a white blank piece of paper, and a pencil. So I draw whatever I want to draw. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter. I could draw a face or a mouse or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever I want to draw in the software, I draw it, and it will be like that for everyone. And softwares nowadays are easily accessible.
Yeah.
Some people crack them, but I'd recommend you go buy them. And once you get into it, be in the music like the way that you want to be in. Like just get deeper and deeper and deeper into it, and be patient as well. Like music needs patience when you are looking on the business side now of
Yeah.
music. It needs really like someone who's really patient, because it's not a thing where for sure that tomorrow when I wake up I'll be as big as Casper.
That's true.
It never works out like that. Could take you 20 years, 25 years in order to get to that level, because of just one thing missing, or because of you're stuck into a certain sound. You understand?
Yeah.
So you just have to be patient. You just need to work every day. It's also like mathematics. You need to practice. You can't
practice, yeah.
sit and
hope
and
that
not
you're
and
gonna-
exactly. You just need to work each and every day and try to not box yourself in terms of music, because I understand now. If I'm talking to a young brother of mine, late 2000 type of person, the only thing they know now is your piano and maybe a sound. Before that, maybe a gom,
Yeah.
and that's what they love. That's what they admire. Understand? But try to go back a bit to just get a bit of the roots where music comes from.
Yeah,
You understand? Like be more exposed to music. Don't put yourself into that one spot whereby this is what I know and this is what I love. Like maybe you might love the music from the back in the days like more than you think you would. You
Yeah.
understand? So try to expose yourself to more music, be around other musicians, try to learn the business music. I mean the business side of the music. Because if I knew now what I know today, if I knew it then, I would have been way richer than, a lot of people. But for me, it was difficult because there was no internet, there was no this, there was no that. But for you, it's very easy. You understand? It's very easy. You can just Google how
Yeah.
to do this.
Yeah.
You can just Google, you can just YouTube how to do
How
this,
to do this, how to do
It's
that.
going to be very easy for you. So it wouldn't really take you that long. So I think those are the things that you need to do. Just focus on yourself. Don't follow trends. Make sure
your
that
research.
you do a lot of research.
Yeah.
Understand what royalties are, where
Yeah.
you're supposed to get your royalties, why, how. You understand all these things. And understand what is the sync. Understand all these things. You know, because when big companies come to you and tell you about a sync deal, Omo wants to use your song for advert, and you don't even know what's gonna happen on that. You're just happy the fact that it's playing on an advert.
Yeah.
But they're making shitloads of money
Yeah.
out of your work. You
Yeah.
understand? So those are the things that you need to know. Or you're sitting there and the radio is playing your song on the background. How do I get that? What reality is that?
Yeah.
Those are the things we need to start understanding as the people, you know?
Yeah.
If you don't know, ask.
Yeah.
Ask around. And if you know, come on, dude, share the information.
Share the knowledge, yeah.
Share the information. You know, some people just don't want to share the information.
Yeah.
They want to keep it to themselves so that they can eat alone.
Very true. Yeah.
But we as the poor, we're gonna want to feed from the rich at some time. You
Yeah.
understand?
Yeah.
So why don't we just share and we all equal?
Yeah.
We all rich if we're rich.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
So those are the things, man, that we need to know.
Yeah, man. I think it's really important that you say, that you're talking about sharing of information, because I think that's lacking.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point of this podcast, is to talk to people like yourself, that have done certain things and walked certain roads, and you've acquired certain information that could be useful to somebody that's trying to come in and find their place in the industry and make their own mark in the industry. So sharing of information, I feel like is so important.
Bro.
Yeah. And like you're saying, there's a lack. People don't share, and even when it comes to producers and tricks and tips and how they get their kick to sound a certain way, and these are things that these are like trade secrets that they feel, no, I'm not going to tell anybody, that's my
brother, that's true. And like, what to add on what you're saying, because of I'm also like a music engineer, so some people would like book for mix and master session.
Yeah.
So I'll tell them, no, come through. Then I start mixing next to them. And then I would master next to them. And they'll be like, aren't you afraid, because this is your source of income, aren't you afraid that someone would try and get this information from you and use it?
Yeah.
I'll be like, yeah, it's cool. That'd be dope. At the end of the day, they won't do it like I do it.
Yeah.
They can just learn a few things from it.
Yeah.
And make
a
living from them for themselves.
Yeah.
So what's the problem with that?
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
So it's just to add on what you're saying, that some people they would be like keeping it to themselves and not share it. Like, why, bro? Like, why? You can tell me something today. It doesn't mean like I'm going to take it from you.
Yeah.
Or whatever the case may be. I'm still going to do it my way.
Yeah.
Nizotesha ngejuice noma ngayisko athi I know so pusha nge-ice drop bafuna lento ishisa la ebhokithini.